Hi, Nancy.
It's so good to meet you. It truly is. I was wondering, did you drop your Bielka off of your name for North American people who can't say it?
Spot on.
So you still use it in Europe?
Yes, I do. I use it, or the thing is, I don't use it. Mm, it's like I use it in my private life, but I don't use it in my acting. Yeah,
When
but
I when I
it's, but
when
you pronounce it.
thank you. I put it in a translator so I could say it correctly, which I
Oh,
probably haven't.
no, you
But
did.
thank you. That's very tak. Thank you.
Yeah.
That's very kind of you. But it came up as being Norwegian. And I know
It
that
is.
you were born in Norway.
It's funny. It is a Norwegian name, but it's not from any of my biological parents. But
Oh,
my father was Norwegian, and Holm is from his family. But Holm is kind of all around Scandinavia, I'd say. Uh, but then he passed away, and my mother remarried, and she married a Swedish man who was half Norwegian and therefore had a Norwegian last name. And my mother wanted us all to have the same last name, so we all added Bjelke, or
very
as we
cool.
say, Bjelke. Yeah,
Yeah, okay.
yeah. So I have two Norwegian names. Yeah.
I was wondering how you're adapting to this 3 minute format because I sense that you're very much a people person. So how are you dealing with that?
That's a wonderful question. I just try to get as I try to be as present as possible and like see if we can go deep in these 3 minutes, but it sucks when it's over because the goodbye is just always too early. Because if it's 3 minutes, then I'm like, okay, maybe we'll have time to go there and come back and then there's a goodbye. But when it's 6 minutes, it's harder not to go so go into like a big conversation and you just keep on chatting and then it's even harder to yeah to make the goodbyes kind of because there's always something to talk about, right?
I know, and you're so interesting. I mean, I've been watching you do interviews, and you really love to converse and get in other people's heads and know who they are. And I really appreciate that about you. I really, it's been lovely.
Thank you, Nancy.
You're
And
welcome.
what is your background?
I'm old, so I'm probably not your demographic, but I'm from the other coast in Canada. So if you're used to listening to Taylor's West Coast Canadian accent, you're now
Yeah,
listening to an East Coast Atlantic Canadian accent.
really. The thing is,
But
I can't really tell the difference between American, standard American and Canadian, other than the out and the sorry.
yes, I know, and that changes all across Canada too, because I've had Americans accuse me of saying oot, and
Yeah,
we don't say oot in Atlantic Canada, we say out or about.
yeah.
They always have me say about, they say. And I'll say about, and they'll go, oh, see, there's oot. And I'm going, no. Anyhow,
No.
it is true. And but you must have that in Sweden as well, different dialects from different places.
Oh, we do. Yeah, there's nothing. It's not true. It's not nothing I love more, but I really, really love doing dialects in Swedish. If someone is up for a dialect battle, we'll go there and have an objective judge.
That's so
Especially
cool.
if yeah, maybe if I had a beer, then I'll go north, south, east, west, and roundabout, and then I'm like, oh, what about you? Do you want this socio-economical background for that part of that town?
Yes, because I would say that probably my accent would be academic and urban. So, but in Nova Scotia, where I'm
Oh, you're
living at
from
the
Nova
moment,
Scotia. Wow.
absolutely. And you're invited to come. I will give
Thank
you
you.
my house and move to my sister's for the time you want to stay. If you want to stop when that plane is flying overhead and say, no, I should stop and go to Nova Scotia,
I'm
you
jumping.
have an open invitation.
Thank you, Nancy. That's
You're welcome.
awesome. No, sorry, you were saying in Nova Scotia.
We have a saying, travel 20 minutes and the weather will change, and travel 20 minutes and the accent will change.
Oh, wow. It's
So
that
it's
different.
very, It's very different. Yes, indeed. But you and I have two things in common now. I knew we had one thing in common. We have two things in common. One is when I was learning to drive, I was terrified that if I sneezed, I would go off the road.
Yes. It is terrifying. Also because it takes you over like a demon and it just goes out there. But do you know about this trick? Put your thumbnail under your little fingernail. That way you can postpone the sneeze.
Well, I didn't know that. I grew up as an asthmatic, so I sneezed all the time. But
yeah.
And I thought to myself, you close your eyes when you sneeze. You close your eyes when you sneeze. That's such a bad thing.
Well, what's the other thing? Because our time is up.
My father also died.
Oh.
No, I didn't get the time warning. Anyhow, I'm awfully glad to have at least said hi.
Yeah, it was very nice to meet you, Nancy.
It was very nice to meet you too. You're just a delight. You're just a delight.
Well, you are very wonderful, and I enjoyed these minutes with you.
Thank you so much.
Take care.
You too.